All right, so we're talking data orchestration in Domo. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on the second half of data orchestration. Once your data is in Domo, how do you get it out to other source systems as soon as it's landed in Domo? And so with this tutorial, I'm going to use my handy dandy earthquake data set, and I'm going to send this data off to Google Sheets to populate a Google Sheet anytime new data comes in. And so if you haven't watched my previous video on data orchestration, I would recommend you go back and look at the flowchart because we're going to do the second half of the flowchart where it's in Domo and now we're going to orchestrate it out to other systems. And so just taking a look at this data set, like I mentioned before, if you look at these data sets and normally there is a batch/run column, and this can be really helpful because anytime, this is a very reliable column to know when data has changed, right? If the time on here is different, then we can assume the data has been updated. And so in this case, I actually create a data set alert based off of that. And so if I want to walk through this real quick, basically I'll just go to my batch/run, and if the average changes by anything, then notify me, right? Because that basically tells you, hey, the average has changed. It means that new data is there. And so now you're going to attach a webhook action. And this is where I'm going to come over to Make, which is my automation integration platform. The first thing that this scenario does is it waits for a webhook request to come in. And so basically Make will generate this crazy long URL for you that you'll copy to clipboard, and then come in here and paste it into your URL to configure your webhook and then send a test. And so coming over to the Make side, basically what's happening here is we're waiting for a webhook from Domo. We then go to hit the Domo Dojo. We're hitting one of these API, the query API, and we're just selecting all from a table. In this case, we're just hitting, I just want to get all the data from the data set that my alert is located on. And so this, not much data here, like 9 rows, but we're going to hit that. We're going to parse it and iterate over it. And so I might go more in depth on these, on this platform, but really it's splitting it out into each row, and then from there, it's writing the rows to Google Sheets, right? So it's coming into this Google Sheet, and then it's seeing every column, and it's writing values into the columns. And so this is probably easier if I just run it real quick. And so this platform is nice because I can just say run once, and now it's waiting. You can see it's waiting. And so now if we come here and let's run our data set in real time, if we wait over here on the right, we will see it's going to populate it. Awesome. Cool. Now, just to kind of take a look at it, right? We have the yellow bar. It shows that the data set updated. And then if I come over to Make, we can see that it triggered the webhook and then made the HTTP request, did all this great stuff. And we're over here with the data in our Google Sheets. Let's go. So obviously there's a ton of practical applications with this. I've made a lot of integrations this way, but for me, it's powerful because Domo with this data set alert lets me know exactly when my data has updated, right? So if I'm ever, if I want to update something as soon as possible, as soon as it's there, you put a data set alert up and you're good to go. One consideration is sometimes there may not be a column like this in your data set. And so then what you would do is just come in here into Magic. Let's use our handy dandy constant column tile, drag it out, and we're just going to put something that's like a timestamp column. And it's just going to be a timestamp of the current time, right? So then you would just run your data set through this ETL, and then on the output data set data of the data flow, then just do the same data set alert, right? So that's one consideration. Besides that, honestly, that's about it. This is just a very simple data orchestration technique. I've really enjoyed using it. So yeah, thanks guys.